I don't start my stream unless there's like 10,000 people here. Like, seriously. I'll wait. I ain't wasting my time. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. I'm not wasting my time until there's 10,000 people in this room right now. Until there's 10,000 people on my live stream. I ain't even gonna start talking until we get 10,000 people sitting up in here, because I don't just start for less than 10,000. Maybe 5,000 people. If 5,000, I don't start until there's 5,000 people in this live stream, and then I'm gonna start. If there's not 5,000 people, or even 1,000 people, I don't start talking for. It's got to be at least 1,000 on my live stream before I say anything. I'm not even gonna start talking. I'll just wait here. Okay, I'll say 500 people, then I'll start my live stream. If it don't get no 500 people, I'm not starting my live stream until 500 people are in here. All right, maybe 100 people. If 100 people, I won't start my live stream until there's 100 people sitting here. I just wait right here till there's 100 people here. At least 50 people. I ain't gonna start this thing at all. I don't even talk for less than 50 people. Maybe 20 people. I won't start talking until about 20 people. I'll just wait right here, or at least 10 people. Maybe 10 people. 9's good enough, y'all.
Brothers and sisters, coming from his studio located in the great state of Texas, the undeniable, irresistible, bearded mic slinger, the hardworking man himself, Lynnwood Presley King.
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Good morning. Come on, let's. Freddie! Bring down channel 3, Freddie! Channel 3! Channel 3, Freddie! Channel 3, yeah! Bring it down. Bring the volume. Fade it out. Bring it down, Freddie. Channel 3. Sorry, y'all. Freddie, channel. All right. Thank you, Freddie. God. Good morning, y'all. Freddie. Hold. Freddie. Listen, man. Hey. It's all right. Every time, though. Every time. I told you, channel 3. I know your dyslexia might be kicking in, bro, but it's not channel 8. Maybe channel 3. Fade it out, nice and easy. We go over this every time I do a live stream. And there's people watching. There's 20 people here, man. Good morning, y'all. It's all right. Come here. Give me high five. Shake it up. Twist it. Flip it. That. Fist bump. You got it. My sound man, Freddie, is just... Freddie, don't leave. Freddie, don't leave. Freddie. He's going to the other room. He gets a little bit upset because I'm hard on him. He tells me he's working for free, but I say, no, you're not working for free. You're working for the experience. You know what I'm talking about? Freddie, you're working for the experience. It's not for free. Sometimes he gets upset. Y'all ever work for the experience, though? People don't get that. Sometimes the experience is worth more than the money. I know when I was a young man and I was coming up, regardless of what I was doing, there are times in life where you got to do stuff not for free, but for the experience. People always talk about, I don't work for free, I don't do this. But in the grand scheme of things, brother, the only way you're going to learn something in life is if you get your hands dirty. And sometimes getting your hands dirty means you ain't going to get paid because you don't know nothing. And if you want this job or you want to learn this field of interest you got, you're going to have to do stuff for free. The other day I talked about this. I was on Facebook. Y'all. Okay, I use Facebook. I'm sorry. I use Facebook only because the people that talk to me the most are Facebook people. They comment on my stuff, on my reels. They go in there and comment and they say stuff to me. No one ever comments on my TikTok stuff ever. So I use my Facebook because I get engagement there, and it makes me feel a little bit more secure in myself. But anyhow, I was on a Facebook group the other day, and I'm looking for a guitar player, and I have some guys I'm working with. And if Brandon, if you jump in here, Brandon, I'm gonna get you sent those tracks today. But I've been looking for a guitar player, a solid man, a solid good guitar player. I mean, what's gonna have to happen is I'm gonna have to hire somebody, because it's not like in the old days. Back in the old days, you got a band together, right? You and your friend Johnny and George and your friend Derek and Wes, y'all got together one day and say, hey, let's form a band and let's be rock stars. And so when you're a young kid, you get your 5 friends together. You're so foolish and you're so foolish and excited and unexperienced that you just hit the road and start touring and you play for free all over the country. And then as that time rolls on, you become experienced, and then you develop a stage presence and you develop a sound, and it's like amazing. But you did like the first 2-3 years of being on the road was pretty much you're just getting by. It's not really free, it's experience. You can't pay for, there's some stuff you can't pay for. I have a lot of memories of being on the road, and some of the memories, for the most part, my most memories that I have are from playing shows where there wasn't really anybody there. Kind of like live streaming sometimes. You get on stage and there are not people there, but you're doing it. And as you're sometimes if you don't have the mental fortitude and the desire inside of you to push forward regardless of who's watching or who's listening, if you don't have that, you're not going to gain the experience you need to improve on what you're trying to do. Now, my first few years touring, and it even happened towards my last years, I ain't gonna lie, there was some times we'd be on tour and there'd be 20 people in the room, 10 people in the room. And that's when we were touring a lot. We had established ourselves and we were already playing big festivals. And don't be pinning that on me. That's because your band sucks. Every band has the seasons like that. You have seasons where the clubs are packed, and then you have seasons where they're not as packed. Maybe there's no one there, or the promoting's wrong, the tour goes a way you don't want it to go, and then you're not making money, no one's coming out. Don't tell me that it happens to everybody. I've seen it. I've seen bands that you would think they got platinum records and #1 hits, and they're playing in front of 30 people. I've seen it. Imagine how humbling it is to be playing stadiums and freaking big theaters, and then you come to a city where you're freaking playing on the floor in a venue that's just getting built. It happens to people. But the experience, for the most part, for me, my experiences from being on the road and my memories are a lot of times memories of no one being at the show, and I'd be performing, and as I'm performing, I thought about this morning, really, when I was driving. I took my kids to school with my wife, and I was coming back home, and I had a memory popped in my head of it had to have been 2007, 2006, in a place called Springfield, Missouri, and there was a club out there called Rock Island. And I remember as I was driving up back to my house, I had this memory of me being on stage, and there was probably maybe 15 people. It was a Saturday night. It was cold. It was freezing outside. And there was maybe 15 people in the room. And I remember that night, I had this presence on. I felt like, as I was performing, I felt peace, and I felt really like I was in my purpose. And I can't really explain it, even though there wasn't a lot of people there, and I could have been discouraged and sad and like, man, I'm 20 hours from home. I'm not making any money tonight. And I remember, though, feeling the switch when I was performing, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then from that day on, I began to develop myself, because I realized why I was doing it. I used to get angry. Like, this is my mentality back when I first started performing, was I needed to prove something. I need to prove that I need to get their attention. And it wasn't fun. It was like I was on stage, like, all on alert. I was on alert on stage. But then that night, I remember feeling like, okay, I'm supposed to bring joy to people. My purpose in doing this is not to get out there and be like, watch me be the heaviest band and like look how mad I am at the world. Because that's how I was before. I wanted to be in a real heavy rock. At the time, I was confused. Really, I was confused. But I was trying to be in a metal band. I didn't know if it was metal. I didn't know what we were. We were still developing. But that night, I remember it clicked. You're here to bring joy to people. You're here. Your purpose is to perform at a level where people are going to go, that's awesome. Look at that. And they're going to have these memories of not just having a good show, not just performing good music, but having a show that people are going to be like, wow, I'm excited to watch those guys. And that night, I remember it clicked. And it took many years of playing for free, but it wasn't for free. It was for experience. You what's up, Indiana? I think Indiana is near Illinois, and there's the Des Moines, right? Des Moines, Indiana. Des Moines, is that right? Des Moines, is that correct? Indiana, Des Moines, Indiana. I played Des Moines a couple of times. I think I'm right. I might be wrong. My states are kind of, when you get to be my age, everything becomes a fog. But anyhow. You have to realize, and I'm on this rant because that one post I did on Facebook. I made a post on Facebook on a musicians group, and I said, listen, I'm looking for a guitar player. This is the kind of guitar player I want. I want someone who'd be willing to play for free. I want someone who would play up to 4 hours without breaks. I want somebody who would be able to go on tour and not make money. And I was naming all the things that I did when I first started. And I made this list. And I wasn't being sarcastic. I wasn't trying to be condescending. I wasn't trying to make fun of anybody. I was just saying this is what I want from somebody that wants to play in my band. And I posted this, right? And oh my God, everyone, if you go to that Facebook page right now, it's the most popular post on the Facebook page, I know, right? It's the most popular Facebook page. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's the most popular post with the most comments, the most unlikes, and like people making their faces on it. And the comment that people would say the most was how I was trying to steal from people. I was trying to rip people off, and then they were saying, "Well, I don't work for free. Some guys were like, I've never worked for free in my whole life. I've always been paid to play music." And I was like, "You liar! You're such a liar. You tell me you've been. Oh, I don't." Sorry, y'all. That was a business call. I couldn't miss it. As I was saying, though, a lot of the guys were talking about how they don't touch it, they don't do nothing for free. But the reality, people, is if you're serious about what you want to do in life, like mine was music. I was serious about it, and I used to. One of the things I used to do was I'd go downtown with my acoustic guitar and I'd perform. I'd play for people. And I get tips and stuff. You bust. And my first few tours, I'd go on tour. And thankfully, I've never had to be like, hey, band, let's get together. Everyone's pitching in for gas. I was fortunate enough to be able to I had already established myself touring with another band where I was able to at least go on tour and have all my expenses paid. Almost like a paid vacation. That's the way I looked at it. I was like, well, I might not make money, but I'm really traveling all over the country, playing rock and roll. And I'm going to all over the California, to Seattle, to Washington. I'm going to Chicago. And I just thought of it as I was developing myself and building my brand and getting my people, my music known. I was looking at it like that. It's a paid vacation. It's not a paid vacation because I'm an independent contractor. Anytime you do music or whatever field you're doing as a contract, you're going to be it's rare that you're going to find a musician who's an employee unless they're like working for a church or they're working for a major band that has like they make so much money they could have employees. I can't do that. I'm a subcontractor. I'm an independent contractor. So as a musician, right, you're just going through, like I was just happy enough to, I can come home, make all the money I could. I'd make all the money I could doing whatever. I fortunately, again, I started a business. That's why I had to take that call. And I partnered with some friends, and this business decided that by the grace of God, the Lord just said this: I'm gonna bless you, son. And my business took off. But I was able to make as much money as I could, and then I'd schedule a tour, a 2-3 week run, leave on tour. And thankfully, I never had to ask my musicians or my band, because we're all friends and we're best friends and we're brothers. We're in the band together. We never had to throw money in for gas. Like I never had to go, hey guys, everyone needs to pitch in $20 each to get to the next city. Fortunately, we already had at least a small enough fan base to get us all of our expenses to go to the next city. It don't take much, y'all. At least 20 people, 15 people come in to pay $10 or $5 each. That gets you to the next city. But anytime you're going to try and do something great, you're going to do stuff not for free, but for the experience. And you got to take that attitude. Take the attitude. I'm not going to look at, you may not be paying me today in dollars, but you're paying me in experience. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. I truly. You can't put a price tag on experience. You can't. There's no way to put a. Oh man, thanks, Chad. I appreciate that, brother. You cannot put a price tag on experience. As a young carpenter, part of the success I've had over the years is I was willing to do anything it took so I can achieve my dreams, achieve whatever goal, whatever God sent me to do. I would do whatever it took, and so part of it was. I was a carpenter, and I wasn't very good at it. And I still, let me tell you, I'm still not good at it. But I was willing to get my hands dirty. I was willing to dig ditches. I was willing to dig fence posts. I was willing to, whatever I could do to provide for my family, and then still go on tour next week, right? I was willing to do that, and that pays off. It pays off when you're willing to put the work in. Work always sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. Work is good for you. I've spent my whole life. I think about it like this because I'm in a position where I don't make a lot of money. I'm not rich, but my wife and I we're surviving. We're good. We're blessed, and a lot of that is because I spent 2 decades working 2 full-time jobs. I had my business at home, and I'd work that regular job. And then it seemed like once I got off work, I'd come home and I'd be rehearsing, I'd be booking, I'd be playing shows, or I'd be doing regional dates in Austin, or in San Angelo, or in San Antonio, or San Marcos, and I do these small dates near my city. But I was always working, and it's a full-time job. If you're serious about it, if you're serious about whatever your dream is, it's going to take you doing double work. Unless you're fortunate, and this is another thing I put on that post. I want someone that's either rich or kept. Rich because you got rich parents, or kept because you got a wife, or you got you built yourself a career, or you got something that allows you to sometimes work for the experience, not for free, but for the experience. That was one of my requirements. That's one of the things I asked. Is like, if you're going to do this with me, don't come in my room, right? Don't come in my space, and then be telling me, oh, I need a new guitar amp. Hey, I need a new amp. I need to get, bro. You got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get yourself good gear. What's up, Chad? Thanks again, brother. You got to do whatever it takes to get yourself some good gear, man. And you got to do whatever it takes to survive. I remember there was times where I had to leave. I booked a tour, right? I booked a 3-week tour with my band, and I knew rent was coming up. And sometimes I didn't have the money in the bank, and I had to leave on tour like tomorrow. And I've done this. I've been to the pawn shop. You're not a real musician until you've been to the pawn shop. That's not true, but yeah, that was a saying in my band. Because a lot of times we would literally, we have some nice guitars, like Gibson guitars. Really, that's all we would play are Gibsons, and they're good Gibsons. Like we had a deal with Gibson where they would give us guitars, and sometimes they didn't know our financial state. They just thought we were a cool band. They wanted to help us out, and they didn't know like we needed money. But there were some times before tours we would take our Gibsons, the ones we weren't using on the road, and we'd pawn them. Just so we had money for the wives and the kids, and then we'd leave on the road, and then any money we'd make extra, we'd send home. But those are some things that I was willing to do to pursue my dream, my purpose. Now let me back that up. Let's go in reverse a little bit. Go in reverse, like y'all like that? Let's back it up a little bit. Let's back it up a little bit. Back it up. I think what helped me have a lot of stamina and endurance and allowed me the patience, I would say, and the ability to overcome a lot of obstacles in my career, and even now sometimes, because it reset. After COVID, everything kind of just reset. But one of the things that allowed me to overcome a lot of adversity was approaching my dream as a calling, my dream as something that God gave me to do. And it's not, don't be foolish and think you're gonna just think of something and do something and be like, that's my purpose. You have to. It's not something that is you just. I want to be rich. It's not like that. It's not like that. Or I want to be famous. No, it's not like that. It's something like that you feel called to, drawn to, and when you find that thing, whatever it is, you realize, man, this is my purpose. And your purpose is a lot of things. God has purposed you to be a good husband, a good father, or a good wife, or good mother. God has a lot of purposes in you, but you have to approach your dream the same way. Like, if it's really something you love to do, and it's like, I can't explain it, but when I do it, I have a lot of peace, and when I do it, I feel fulfilled when I do it, then that could be your purpose. And then you got to approach it like you're called to it. I remember, and even now, I have to remind myself sometimes. But there are moments where you're fixing to do something great, and it can be before you do it, you feel very intimidated, and this opportunity presents itself for you to do something great, right? For you to be. For example, someone offers me a show that I wasn't ready for, or I thought I wasn't ready for. And you get this sense of humility and feeling small, right? And that's normal. Everyone feels like that. I mean, I feel like that all the time. And you feel like inadequate, and then you feel discouraged. But then something inside of you starts to say, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what I called you to do. I feel like the Lord's saying that, like, this is what I called you to do. And then once that happens, for me, it always was like this sense of like I can't even describe it, insecure. What would be the right word? The only thing I can think of is just feeling small, feeling like inadequate. But the moment I would get on stage and the first note, bam! Oh, I became this person that was like not me before, and it's just like it literally, and it does. If you've experienced this, then you know what I'm talking about. And that's how you know, okay, God called you to this, because it takes something different to do this thing. And you have to approach it as your purpose. And I promise, if you get with God, right, if you get with God and you get this purpose, whatever it is, squared away, it doesn't matter how much money you make or don't make. That's how you got to be. You got to be able to say, I would do this because I'm good at it, because God called you to. And not only did God call you to, but you're good at it, and it connects with people, and you're doing something great. That's how you have to approach this. And a lot of times you're not going to get paid doing it. And that's where, like, I was laughing when those musicians were telling me I don't do nothing for free, because I think you did. I think you're lying. I think everyone does stuff not for free, but for experience. And you got to approach stuff like that. I've been thankfully I get paid to play. I don't get paid as much as I used to, or as much as I want to sometimes, but I get paid, and there are times where I can't take my band. I have to play solo. I have to get my little looping station set up and be and I got to do all that by myself. I don't want to. I hate it. I'll be honest with you. I cannot stand playing alone. I hate playing alone. I hate it. I would. Sorry about that. I had to take that business call. Anyhow, now my mind's all kind of, we have meetings. I have a meeting I needed to go to today, and they're changing it around. So, what was I talking about? I already forgot. Sometimes you lose your train of thought. Sometimes I know, it's like, especially when you get to be my age. But there are things that you do for the experience. And you have to, now don't get taken advantage of. I understand, and I think that's maybe some of the guys that were being gatekeepers of that little community, trying to keep people from being ripped off. But every great musician that I can think of, or even guys that I respect, they came up playing for free. They came up learning, because you don't get paid. Like, my friend came over the other day and he was asking me, hey, I want to front my band. I want to be a front man. I want to perform, and I want to make money. And he wants to start a band. And I'm like, it's cute, because you're not just because you have a band, you're not going to start making money. The only way you make money in music is if you create a demand for yourself. It's the only way. Oh, so let me get back to, I hate playing alone. Like, I hate it. I always needed someone to be on stage with me. It could be a horn player or another guitarist, keyboard player. I just needed, I never wanted to play alone. And then when COVID hit, it got even worse, because now I had no band. I couldn't play with my band because, and we didn't know anything about technology. We didn't know how to live stream. We did one live stream performance, and that was at a studio here in town. And we paid them like $200 to use their studio to do a live stream, which is, we could have used that $200 to buy ourselves an interface and a couple of microphones, and we would have been fine. But I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about that stuff. But then COVID hit, right? And I'm stuck here in my little room, and I'm like trying to think of ways I can perform still. And so I started just singing along with my tracks. I put the music on, I put my songs on, and I'd sing along to them. And then I knew how to play guitar, but I wasn't very good at it. I could get by. I'm a songwriter, so of course you get your guitar when you're a songwriter, and you just kind of you start writing songs, right? You get your guitar and you start writing songs. And when you're a songwriter, it doesn't matter how good you are. You're writing songs. But I wanted to get better, and I started watching people live streaming. I started watching, like, because, you know, TikTok and everyone started live streaming, and there were guys that were like just super amazing, and they were doing it all by themselves. They were like playing with the freaking looper, and I didn't know really. I knew what a looper was, but I never heard of a loop station and the stuff that comes with it. But I ended up finding, I did some research, and I found that there was this loop station called the RC 505, right? Yeah, 505. And I was like, man, they're like $700-800. But I went to Marketplace, and people were selling them for cheap. Well, not really cheap, like $500, like brand new $500. And so I bought me one, and then I come in, and then as I started screwing around in here, I started thinking I have to get in front of people. I have to play in front of people somehow. So then I did my first live stream, and it was terrible. I was nervous. And so for almost a year, it wasn't up until probably this 2024 in like maybe September, I started kind of feeling comfortable doing this, because I'm a front man. I want a band. I want to be in a band. I don't want to be a solo artist. I want to have a band. But I was in a position where I had to make myself do something that I didn't like to do because I love to do it. Does that make sense? I had to because I love to perform, I love to entertain, I love talking, I love playing my music, I love singing, I love doing the whole, I love sweating on stage. I love everything about music, I love it. Like even rehearsals. Like in rehearsals, man, I prefer, and I would make this was the thing with my bands when we would rehearse. No AC. No AC, it's going to be hot as all get out wherever we rehearse, because I wanted us to be not just mentally used to it, physically used to it, and I wanted to sweat. I wanted to get done with rehearsal like I got done performing a show, and I like to sweat when I practice or when I work. That's what I want, and that's the kind of attitude. The band getting together, and then the next thing you know, I was by myself. I was like trying to figure out how to live stream, and I loved it. Even though I hated it, I loved it. I love to perform. I love to sing. I love to write music. I love to perform music. But I hated it because I was nervous and embarrassed, and it was, to me, I was feeling very inadequate. But the more I started doing it, the more I started realizing the only way to improve at something is to just do it. Get on it. For the experience. I wasn't getting paid on Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or anywhere. I was getting paid in experience. I was getting paid in developing a sense of confidence that would help me to be able to now I'm doing these solo gigs, and I don't like it because I prefer having a band, but I'm making way more money than I would be if I had my band right now. That's hard to think about, though. You know, I'd rather make, you know, $1,000 a night with the band. You know what I mean? But I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I was there. Now I'm not there. Because when you disappear, people forget about you. So now I spent last year rebranding myself in a sense. I started playing more solo gigs. I started taking on any gig I could take. I would do it. I wouldn't say no to anyone. They'd call me, "Hey bro, can you come in tonight?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And I'd load my gear and I'd go to wherever they asked me to go. I have 2 booking agents I'm working with, and I've never told them no, unless I'm already booked. And if I'm already booked, I can't. But I've never told them no when it comes to them giving me work. But it's something that I hated, but I loved it. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, I hate to do this, but I love to do it. It's just in terms of music, like when you're like, it was the hardest thing for me to come on TikTok. Because first thing you do is you see, oh, there's not very many people watching. And I would get on here and it'd start out with 100, then it'd drop down to 0, and it'd stay at 0, and I'd be like just here with my guitar going, yeah, this is... And I'd just suck it up, and I'd play my set, and then I'd get done, and then I don't know if you know this about TikTok, because I know people will jump in here, there's only 13 people watching, there's only 10 people. The thing is, TikTok keeps the numbers. They let me see how many people were watching my stream, right? So when I get done here, I'll see how many people watched the stream, how many people stayed on the stream, how much time each person stayed on the stream, and then it'll tell me like it'll rank the watchers on who watched the most, who gifted the most, who commented the most. So TikTok's very good about explaining to you what's going on your stream. And I never knew that, but then as I started to do this, I remember thinking one day, even though there was like 5 people or 3 people in the room, I got done performing, and it said there was 80 people watching you. There was 400 people watching. And I got to thinking to myself, this is 80 people from around the globe. It's not like I packed my van and loaded my trailer up and then took 5 guys on the road, and we played in Ohio, and we played in Chicago, and then we went to New York, and then we went to DC and Philly. You know, it was, and sometimes you go there and there's 10 people in the room, just like right now. But that costs you. It costs you time with your family. It costs you gas. It costs you maintenance. It costs you the food. This cost me absolutely nothing. And as I started to realize that, I thought, man, this is cool, because I'm actually able to perform still. I'm able to talk to, almost like being on tour. Like it's almost being on tour, but like you're still reaching people from around the globe, and that to me, it benefits me as an artist, because now, instead of having to fill my tank up and drive to Dallas, Texas, I come in my room, I plug in my stuff, and I start to talk or perform, and I'm able to reach people in Dallas, whoever wants to watch or whoever happens to come in the room. You ever been to 6th Street? You ever been to South by Southwest? So South by Southwest is like one of I've had some of the best experiences at South by Southwest, especially in my early days coming up. I used to camp out there the whole week, and basically I'd park my van, my tour van, and I would sleep in that thing the entire week. I did that probably from 2005 maybe all the way up until COVID. And I was like, man, it got to the point where I made so many connections and I had so many friends out there that I had sponsors paying me money to be able to put together events. And me and my buddy, who happens to be my guitar player now, his name is Mac, we would set up events, we would get venues for South by Southwest, and we would make a lot of money. It went from me being there performing, playing, like there were times we played 3 times a day because we were so hungry to play, and we knew being in Austin, Texas for South by Southwest was the best place to network at the time, because you had people from all over the globe coming to Austin to perform, whether it was an official South by Southwest date or an unofficial date. People would come in there, right, and you would just make friends. And at the time, I remember there was so much excitement about my band. Every show we played would be freaking crazy. And you got to think about this, man. This was a time where rock and roll, the type of rock and roll we're playing, was not popular, but it was becoming popular. Because at the time when I was coming up, everything was metal, real, metal, blah, hardcore metal, and we were playing rock and roll, just freaking dirty rock and roll. And then, so at South by, people started just hearing about our live show, and it was like the coolest thing. We had, things were just blowing up for us, and that took the dedication of the playing for experience, playing for free. People don't like to say that, but all that stuff comes with you think I was getting paid to play South by Southwest, other than my sponsorship deals that I was getting to do events? My band was not getting paid to play South by, for the most part. you may not know this, but people that perform at South by a lot of times are paying to play. They pay to play. And if you think bands get the invite from South by, it's very rare. Like South by Southwest is kind of like this exclusive little club, and you got to know the right people, and you got to be able to get in with the right, to be a part of the official event. So everything I did was unofficial, but I still was able to get sponsors to work with me in my events. And I was a part of South by Southwest. I had been a part of the official events. But you have to understand, a lot of the bands pay to play. I know it 100%. They do. And I was out there playing 4 or 5 shows, sometimes 3 shows a day, but the whole week we'd have maybe 5, 6 shows during the whole week. And you do it not for free, but for the experience. And I can't tell you how beneficial that was for me to go to South by Southwest, to play for free. And people don't understand. You're networking with bands from around the country, or sometimes around the globe. I've made connections in Seattle from South by. I made connections in Chicago from South by, in LA from South by. And then you work that whole week. You gotta plan South by Southwest like you're preparing to be there the whole week, and you gotta figure out a way to make the most out of it, meet the most people, get the most connections, make the friends, so you can get that show in Kansas City, Missouri, or in Wichita, wherever these bands are from. And those are the things that help make you great. And it's not for free. It's for the experience. Now that's just for when you're coming up. Like when you're coming up, and even now, like so as I was talking about earlier, I hated playing by myself. But when the opportunity came up for me to play this booking agent just started throwing me shows, and then I met another booking agent, and he started throwing me shows, and I had no choice but to take these shows because I needed the money. And I had to say, I'm going to deal with the embarrassment of not being a great guitarist, not having good timing, not having a great clean voice like you hear on American Idol, had none of that. All I had was a desire to work because I needed the money. I can front a band, and I can have, and I prefer that. I prefer having the Kid on my left, David Ayers Jr. or D.D. King on my right, Joey on Wesley the Ghoulie on my left, Johnny Lightning in the back. I prefer that. Because it's easy. They cover me. I used to say they bury me so no one can really hear me. They can just see me. And then it goes to that being gone, and then I'm having to say, I will do whatever it takes. So now I'm getting in this phase where I'm playing these solo gigs, and it's embarrassing. It was hard because I knew I wasn't great. I knew I wasn't good. And I'm here trying to figure out these pedals, like pushing these little buttons around, and then doing the little drums. And I did not want to be doing that. But this is what you have to do to be able to do what you want to do. Discipline, my friend said that. Discipline is doing what you don't want to do so you can do what you really want to do. And so back in last May, I took on my first solo gig, right? My first paying solo gig that I've had. I mean, I used to play, again, I'd do duos or I'd have a trio. But this is like my first solo gig where they were like, I'm going to pay you this much money to do a solo gig. And I did it because the money's good. It's not like it's $75 or $100. It's some nights I'll make 400 just playing, but on average it's around 300 a show, right? I'll do $300. That's good to me. I'm telling you. For me, $300 is good. I'm happy if I can do $300 a night. I'm good. And so I had to force myself past the embarrassment. I can't tell you how many times I came on TikTok and I'd do my stream and people would just freaking make fun of me, tell me how long you're taking too long, or they just talk bad, and this is the thing I would tell people. I prefer playing in front of an audience than being on TikTok, because on TikTok, you're not going to miss them telling you how bad you are. And that does something to you. You'll be on TikTok thinking you're doing something when you play the Retox the way you ended the right night. Was that? Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Patrick. But you see everyone's stuff on TikTok. Like, I can be performing, I'll be getting down. Say this is me. Say this is me right here, and I'm like getting down, and I'm doing my thing, and I look up and it says you suck, and then all of a sudden, you suck. It does. You don't realize that when you tell someone. But that's when I first started doing it, though. This is when I first started. I didn't understand TikTok and the algorithm. I didn't understand live streaming. I was just like trying. I was trying because I wanted to do it, and I didn't want to, but I wanted to. Because you're scared. And then when I started seeing people say stuff that was like really hurt, like it affects you. It hurts you. If you're like, man, say you're playing and you see someone say your voice sucks, and you're like, my voice really sucks. And then, all right, I'll see y'all later. That's happened to me. I'd be like here, and then it'd say you can't play, and I'd be like, all right, y'all, I gotta go. But as you start doing it, and the more you do it, then you start understanding that there's filters. You can put a filter and I have every bad word you can think of on my filter. You can filter the comments. So if someone goes in there and says you suck, I don't even see that. It just tells me someone violated community standards. But as I learned that, and then as I started practicing and I started doing it, those things will start coming in. You'll start getting better at it. And now it's like this will be this is my see, I started doing it in last May. Here we are, February, March. So this is my 10-month review of live streaming and live looping, which I never thought I would ever do. And I'm not good at it, but I'm good enough. I'm good enough. Use mouthwash summers. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But this is my 10-month review, and I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. I'm feeling more comfortable. One of the things I want to do is I want to incorporate being a front. It's hard to be a front man and be a live streamer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're here do live streaming, and then being a front man to me is getting my microphone and getting crazy and getting down. You can't do that live streaming a solo kit. You can't sit there and live stream and be like playing and then just be. I mean, I have done that. It's fun. It's just something that you do. Something fun. But I'm still learning. But again, you have to realize anytime you're gonna do whatever you feel God called you to do, whatever your dream is. A lot of times, people, you're gonna work for the experience. It's gonna be free. Like today, look, I've been live streaming for almost an hour and a half, and I'm not getting paid to do this, but this is what I'm getting out of it. I'm getting paid experience. I'm still developing. I'm still working out my chops. And the only way to develop is to do it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. The only way to develop is to do it. And understand that you're not working for free. You're working for that experience. And your brand, whatever your brand is, that should be what you're about. All of that. Everything you do should somehow. This is just for business. Like if you're like me, I'm an independent contractor. I'm a musician. Everything I do, I'm my brand. I'm the brand, and I have to try and think of. Anytime I approach something, I have to approach it in a way where I have to think, how is this going to expand my reach? When I go perform, or when I go network, or even when I just go out with my wife. I'm always representing my brand, but I also understand I'm always representing Jesus, man. That's the thing too. He's the main brand. He's the brand I want to represent, but I also have to remember I'm representing my brand. And what she may think is working for free is really working for experience. And maybe the experience is like, I'm never doing this again. All right, then you learn that. Or maybe it's like, wow, I just learned how to do this, or I just made this connection, or I made this. Your wife, what y'all talking about? I'm missing out. This whatever conversation is going on with Vinny. I don't know what's going on there, but y'all be good to each other. Y'all be cool to each other. But that's keep that in mind, man. Especially you young guys. Us older guys, you believe it or not, us older guys sometimes have to start over. I never dreamt I'd be starting over again. It's not. I guess you can say COVID really was a big change for the whole world. Especially it was for me. It was rough. I can't go back and say whose fault it was or what we should have done or what we shouldn't have done. It happened the way it happened, and it was rough. It was rough for my businesses. It was rough for me personally. I had some really good things came out of it. My credit score jumped up. I bought my pool. I was able to invest in new businesses. I started buying stocks. But it was also it was bad for my music when it comes to my band. It was just a very bad. It wasn't good for me, for my band, because we didn't know how to. We weren't ready for it. We didn't know how to live stream. I didn't know how to live. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't know how to live stream. I didn't know TikTok. I didn't know anything about TikTok. I didn't know anything about live streaming. I knew nothing about Reels. It was rough, and I thought when it happened, I was gonna, everyone would recover real quick, and it'd be just like kind of a 1-6 month deal or whatever. Whatever they were saying it was, 3 months, whatever, the 3-week thing. I forgot what it was. But it came to a point where it really, it affected my life. It affected my businesses. It affected my music career. And starting over in your late 40s and 50s and I've seen people do it. I've had friends of mine have to start over late in their life. I've seen it. And that inspired me. That inspired me to keep moving forward. It helped me to, you don't realize when you go through something hard, other people are watching how you do it. And you have to remember, when you go through something hard, when you come out on top, it inspires other people so they come out on top. And there's several people I can think of that have had businesses or their careers or their livelihoods just stopped in their 50s. And I look at them now, and they're doing amazing. They're doing amazing, and they're like they're like freaking in their 60s, mid 60s, 70s, and they had to start over in their 50s, but they made it. And so for me starting over, man, I had to lose my band, and it really sucks, man. I hate having to lose my band. I hate it. But now I got a new band. And now I'm playing these solo shows, and now I'm live streaming, and now I'm helping, I'm able to learn and develop myself even more. So it never ends. Don't ever think you're too old to learn something. I was 50 years old when I started live streaming and learning how to live loop. And I'm not great, but I'm doing it and having fun. I'm getting paid for it. So don't put a limit on your, whatever you think you can't do as an older person. as a younger person, don't ever think you're too young to accomplish whatever dream you're going after. You go after it. You're a young man. You got strength. You're young. Go after it. That's how I was. I was young and I went after it. And I'm thankful I did. I'm thankful I did. I'm thankful I went out and I did everything I did to become the man I am today. But go after it. It sucks starting over. It does. It sucks starting over. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Heavy Metal Gypsy. It does suck. And I'm not through it yet. I'm going through it. I have a festival in March that I need to get ready for. I have 3 shows this weekend that I'm going to play it with my band, 2 with my band and 1 solo. So there's a lot of things to do still. Like for me, there's a lot of things for you too. There's a lot of things for you to do also. But I'm going to leave you with this. Whenever you're rebuilding your brand or you're doing something new in life, that's good. And you're still young. You're just a baby. 44, man, that's young still. That's still young. You're young. But don't approach things in a negative. If you see an opportunity for yourself, don't forget that sometimes getting paid isn't getting paid in money. It's also getting paid in the experience. So don't be so closed-minded on missing an opportunity because you think it's not, they're undervaluing you. A lot of times people aren't going to undervalue you purposely. They just don't know what you bring to the table yet. So they got to say, well, let's try this. Let's rehearse, or let's try this. They're not doing it. What's up, Brandon? Good morning, brother. They're not doing it to undervalue you or do it on purpose. A lot of times they're trying to see what you're about. And sometimes you may miss the greatest opportunity for yourself because your pride will tell you, no, you're way better than that, which you probably are. But there may be a time where you have to humble yourself and take an opportunity for the experience. Okay, I gotta go, y'all. My wife's calling me. Hold on. Okay. Y'all, I gotta head out. I'll see y'all later.